Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to this powerful summit where we are inviting and speaking to many teachers, reshowers, influencers around the world who are sharing their talents, their gifts, what they do, how they serve, and how they awaken humanity into new possibilities. And today we have Michaell Magrutsche. Michaell, welcome. Welcome. Tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you're up to.
Thank you, Maria, for giving me a canvas to paint. I was born in Vienna. I don't want to, I was born in Vienna. I was a sick child. Went to school when I was 7, and then I couldn't understand the school. I couldn't regurgitate. I could understand it, but not regurgitate. I mean, it's, because I'm very neurodivergent. And so I tried to fit in, and was forced to be good with humans because I couldn't do system relevant. I couldn't be the best, quarterback, and I couldn't be the best in school or best reader or anything. So and I found art. I was very lucky to found art creation. I was into music, and that made me feel normal. And so I created a lot, and that's why I have a tremendous self-esteem and self-confidence, even though I have no education. I'm completely self-taught, and I wrote 6 books that I can't read. I have to computer read it for me. I mean, I can read text, but if a book to get context, I need more. So anyway, I found till 50, I did whatever system says: hit the wall with the head through it, just stay on it, be good, be brave and whatever. And I've realized when I was 50, when I wrote my last book, The Smart of Art, I segregated. I thought, why are 99% of artists on the worldwide poor? I mean, I couldn't even understand. Can you understand the world without art? It would be boring. It would be horrible. but we don't look at art, and art will always be accepted by system like a commodity, like you doing a dress, and if dress sells, you're going to make money. If the dress doesn't sell, you give it to Salvation Army. And so but with an artist, they put in all their soul. They have this magical experience while creating something. And then when it doesn't sell, they deny that experience. They say, I didn't learn anything because I didn't sell it. It was a great experience, but I was in delusion. I was crazy. And I found that it is all about the journey, not just the journey in art, but the journey in life, and to be in the moment and understanding, second by second. So right now, I'm focusing in on you, on this moment, to dance with you, not thinking I have to take my dog out, I have to do this, I have to go grocery shopping or whatever. And people today are always on their phone. They're always distracted from being. They're outside in the beautiful California landscape, and they're just on the phone, young and old. And what they're searching so much is the human contact. So when I see a lot of young kids, like 13, 14-year-old kids in the pool, and it's funny, more females are on the phones than guys. Guys are usually but are usually just making fun. But and I always tell them, I said, you know why you're on the phone? And then I said, it's okay to be on the phone. It's not bad to be on the phone, but know that this is your connection to humanity. That's, there's the human centricity that I bring in, about, we are first humans. We are part of nature. And then we created systems because we are creative animals. We are collaborative creator species. And we created cities, New York, Singapore, Nike, Apple, all these things. We love to create together, collaborative, And so, but that's a game. That's a play where we play around with. But what's really is we acting human-centrically with our emotions. Because look, why would I want to be human-centrically and buy myself a Ferrari, right? I want to buy myself a Ferrari to get the chicks, to feel then that my life is worth something because this will fulfill me and get attention from others.
Mm-hmm.
But I can be fulfilled with nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I can, when you moment by moment and observing instead of waiting for acknowledgement, you are observing life
Mm-hmm.
without judging. It's just you observe it. Say, oh, that's interesting. Oh, wow. Maria. Oh, I didn't know she had such a nice background. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
I see your background. Another person doesn't even see your background. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or mine. They're just always busy.
So you made a couple of really good points. One is being present. Being present allows you to be more connected with yourself, but also what really is important. The other thing that you mentioned is a lot of times we do get caught up in what is expected, the box that is placed around us, the have-tos and the shoulds, and what makes other people proud, whether other expect us to do what standard we're supposed to meet. And we're also different. And moving away and realizing that we can create our own, that we can become, we are designing that plan for ourselves, which sounds like that's what you did throughout your life. But also living in the moment. You mentioned art. Art is a way of expressing yourself. It brings in magic. It also can be very healing. Mm-hmm. So not missing out on all the magic in the world and what's available to us. And then, of course, you gave two terms, human-centric and system-relevant. So before we move further, explain from your perspective, what does that mean to you? And what are you sharing with the world? What are you teaching around that?
I would say it wouldn't be a problem at all, but think about your education. Have you ever learned let's say, not from your family, but you go to school, right? And we know that Harvard, Yale, the best education, it has nothing to do with what you learn, because there's way better ways to learn than Harvard and Yale. Mm-hmm. But it is the social communication. And we don't teach our kids, because I work also on educational programs, because I have none. And I said, what I would like. But you said, what is system relevant and human-centric? This wouldn't even be needed to be explained. But because if we would have learned what it means to be a human, to be, what it means that we all collaborate, everybody gives their best, and we are strongest and most effective as human beings by collaborating, working together, and creating together something, whatever we need. Not everybody has to do everything. And we are never taught what it is that we are social human animals. For example, we are taught right away from the different gender, different race, different sexuality, different opinion, different hierarchy. That's taught to us from the first time in school. It's already taught a little bit at home. But when you come, instead of learning in school what it is to be human, and then you feel already, I'm more a creative type. I'm more a thing. And I would say, for example, with that, I would say, teach them a group sport for the masculinity, a group art project for femininity, and everybody has to do it. So it doesn't just the guys do sports. No, everybody has to do everything. The quarterback has to play an old lady in the theater. You know what I mean? So, and then you have a pet, because you need to have a connection with something that is not human and not a language, which is also a system. And because from a pet, you can teach a lot, and you are communicating with the pet. And then an awareness class where we all sit together and say, so, okay, Maria, how was it today that you were, they put you in that running back position, and you are an artist, So you can say that. And then after that, you go and have education. What is a system, what we do now,
So this brings up various questions. I have friends who have children who are neurodivergent and have created a system around them that has very supportive, and it's inclusive of many different things. But what the most important thing that I see is their commitment to their child, their commitment to allow, like, supporting the child to see the world very different, and finding their way and carving their path and tapping into their own possibilities and their own potential. So let's talk a little bit about how art or creativity allows us to do that, allows us to have that human connection. And anything else that you feel is important to share?
So when I was young, for example, I couldn't fit into the system. I couldn't be system relevant, right? I didn't fit in school. I repeated classes because I wanted to, because system says, go, don't give up, you know? But nothing happened in this. So I had my couple of friends, and then I had other friends were the artists. And in the artist community, what happens is it doesn't matter what you are system relevant. Like I said, the quarterback has to play an old lady, right? In a thing. It is about the product. The symphony orchestra doesn't care if he has to make sure the symphony orchestra conductor doesn't need to have just the number one violinist, you know, or a brass section that is beautiful. He has to do the whole thing. When the curtain doesn't open, the concert cannot start. It's all about, it's much more human. Also, it is something that is, we're innate art creators, because if you and I start singing right now, 8 billion people can understand it. They might not like it, but they can understanding if it is a whiny song, or if it's a happy song, or if it's a beat and different. But 8 billion people can figure that out with our 6 senses. And this is what I promote. I said, we have all our nature doesn't make mistakes. It doesn't say, oh, you got to be in a system relevant first. That we have everything by nature, the food, the herbs, the healing, everything, because nature doesn't make mistakes. The science always says that, you know. So we have everything, and art is one innate tool that we all have. Even though system guys, you know, managers are so saying, oh, I see you, I'm an artist, but I could never. I'm more. He said, you couldn't call yourself a businessman if you weren't creative. You wouldn't even call yourself a creative, because you wouldn't be on the level here, you know?
I can appreciate where you're coming from and what you bring in, and the importance of being in that state of creation and expressing yourself. What is your message to the world, and why is that important for you to share?
Every human, we are 8 billion humans. Everybody has has not only, but they always say, oh, they have a different DNA, they have different fingerprints, they have different eyes. No, it's not just that. And you know that from your family. Every human has a different view on life. Even though you guys are all together, right? You grow up together, and there's 5 children, and every single children has a different perspective on life. So basically, there is no system that is right and humans are wrong, because every human is unique. Expression of yourself to find you, and there's a reason why nature made you unique. Because when I meet you, I find a part of me. When you meet me, and what we do is and that's why podcasting is such a miracle, you know, because it expands human observation, you know, your perspective on life. It expands it. And that's why I call the human discourse the second superpower. First is creativity. Second is, discourse, but not system discourse. I'm right and you are wrong. You are a Republican, I'm a Democrat, whatever. No. And the third is adapting, because I have to adapt to you. You have to adapt to me, our 6 senses, and we rock. We start rocking. And we are very used to this because we make it a lot, but we find through this that we have we don't need to train anything. We have all naturally everything to connect. And when we don't express and find ourselves and don't expand our perception, we will have a system perception, and that's not ours. And what happens with that, it creates a tremendous anger. frustration, and fear. That you say, I can never figure out, because you're here to find what is your uniqueness on this planet to contribute to human centricity, not to systems. That's what's natural, you know. And then we can say later, that's why I say, have an education what it is to be human first. So I would teach that to kids first, you know, and then you go and find with your strengths a little bit in mind what you would fit best and what would be the least efforting and what would be coming from you naturally, you know, and then you would have it, because I see that wars and violence is because we are not expressing ourselves, because you have almost no balance in art. You have because the people always express themselves. I mean, go to an opening museum. People don't hit themselves on the thing. And there's every race, every gender, every sexuality, and everybody talks to each other. Because just the feeling, the human feeling, we are unconscious of this, but I did a lot of research in museums. Just the feeling of a concert. Look at this. Taylor Swift, 10,000 people, millions of people, all singing the songs.
Right.
This is magic. It's not possible when you look at it system relevant. Oh, they're all different politics. They're different genders. They're different sexuality. They're different hierarchy. They're different race. I mean, this is insane. And we have everything, but we go always through the system relevant way. And that is secondary. We need to always focus on the human-centric way first. Find who we are, because we are one of one. And that's to get peace, and that's get happiness and fulfillment, because I wake up being fulfilled. And I didn't for 50 years. I did not for 50 years. I was always worried about what's going on. I was always in the fast, in the future and in the past. I don't make goals either, Maria. I don't make goals. I don't make goals. I don't work for success or anything. It just happens. I just be, and the stuff happens that is good.
I love that. I love that. So what you're describing is about, from my language as a healer, as a coach, as an alchemist, is connection with yourselves. The highest good of all, expressing ourselves freely, being authentic with who we are, and following our divine path, carving our path as we go, and living in the moment, being present. And as we serve others, we are also serving ourselves. So we're coming into the place of fulfillment and then living in that flow every single day. Beautiful. Michael, tell us a little bit about your journey. Anything else you want to share, and also any challenges along the way? So I'm really curious about that pivot point for you when you decided, this is who I'm going to be, and this is how I'm going to serve the world.
I think, and I wanted to add something to you that what you said, that other humans, so not only finding yourself, you find a better perspective when you with other humans, even though you fight with them or whatever. But if you want to find your fulfillment, which is different, mine is different than yours, is basically an emotional feedback loop that you are on your right path, that you are on your right journey, even if you don't see where this is going to go, right? But this is on your right journey. And so other humans are always widening your perspective. And especially from the whole world, you get such a, when you do what I and you do, you talk to so many humans and you say, oh, nobody's different. They're in Africa and India, the same thing, But we are told through cultures, through systems, this is this culture, and this is that culture, and they do this and this. And what I also found is that governments often don't define the humans that there is, because governments are only system-centric, and they're not representing the humans that live in humanity. Because you see that here, right? You see if everybody, young kids, they have different races, they have everything with them, sexuality. And then when it comes to, you need to go to vote, all of a sudden they have to straighten up in that, what am I? Am I Republican, Democrat? Am I pro, immigrants? I'm against immigrants and all this stuff. This comes all out to be system. That's why I'm saying, don't worry about the system relevance. because it's not a promise. The promise is you for yourself. Mm-hmm. And then you asked me another question. What was the other question? Oh, the challenges?
Challenges throughout your journey, and the aha moment or the pivot point where you decided, this is who I am, and this is how I'm going to serve the world.
I think I made a major decision when I was 30, mm-hmm. because I had no education, did not fit. I really suffered from that, but I never fit in. I wasn't a famous artist, but I could live from the art that I created. Mm-hmm. So when I looked at my resume, I saw, oh my God, everything is an artist. Everything is, video advertising, selling tapes out of my trunk, being a DJ, being a fashion show producer. And then I saw, you know what? I can't even be an accountant or something else. I am an artist. Mm-hmm. And I saw this choice when you recognize that in you. But I had to look at my resumes, and then they helped me got the intuition or whatever to see that. And when I called myself an artist, that was pivotal. That is a pivotal thing, because I said I couldn't be anything else. I couldn't be a doctor, So I was an artist, rich or poor, it doesn't matter. But I knew what is my connection to everything. Mm-hmm. And then I became, Arts Commissioner of Newport Beach, worked with Robert Evans, who did The Godfather and Chinatown. And also so all of a sudden my life, that wasn't like super successful. I don't see this as a highlight of my life. It was a good experience to experience. But that was one thing. And then because of that system, for me, probably it was easier, Maria, because I could never fit in. Mm-hmm. And it was easier to trust myself because I was forced to trust myself. Mm-hmm. I was forced not to say, oh, Maria said I'm the greatest person or the worst person in the world. I wasn't depending on that. Mm-hmm. I was saying whatever Maria says, it is good or not. It doesn't matter. I don't judge it, Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And there's a big difference. I think because you're one of one. How can anybody say you were the greatest or you're the best? Mm-hmm. They say it really liked what we did, mm-hmm. but that is a collaboration of you and I, me working together. Yeah, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's not like, oh my God, you made me feel great. It's like mm-hmm. saying love. Love is a vibration, a feedback loop mm-hmm. that the other person lifts you brings you into with your resonance into balance. Mm-hmm. It's not that person loves you, and often it isn't, because you say, "Oh my God, when I go out with you, I'm because you made me resonate right." Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean you are in love with me. Mm-hmm. So it's an emotional feedback loop. It's not something you give me or I give you. Mm-hmm. Love is, I think, it's just feedback.
That's a really good point. Well, you said a couple of good things that I want to go back to. One is like feeling like you don't fit in.
Yeah.
Like feeling like you don't fit in. And I feel like a lot of us did experience that at some point. We somehow recognized our difference, whether it was something that we were experiencing, neurological, biological, or something else, which for me was, all my senses were open I could see beyond the veil. I could see beyond the matrix. So for me, that made me feel different and often like I didn't fit in. But what I like about what you said was that you found your way to you. Mm. And that's important, because when we can do that, we can find our way back to ourselves and be comfortable with ourselves and trust ourselves. Then that really supports the way we see the world. That really supports non-judgment, non-criticism, seeing the world from a different set of eyes, from eyes of possibility. We can see others in their magnificence. We can see ourselves in our magnificence, what is possible for us, and what gifts we can bring to the table. So I appreciate that. And I also, I think for the audience, it's great to know that your difference it is your uniqueness that makes you who you are. It's not wrong or bad or anything. And that when we can embrace that part of ourselves and step into the power of that, then we can create something really powerful and really magical. And I feel like you've done that for yourself. Tell us a little bit about any struggles or challenges you experienced at the beginning of your journey.
Right. I need to again answer you before we said, have you ever met anybody that feel they fit in? I've never found a single person that said they feel they fit perfectly in. Even the quarterback doesn't say, oh my God, I love being a quarterback and I love to nothing. I don't see, I've never met a person, because we are all different, that believes that they fit in. I also have never found a person that looks at media and they said, you know, I was three times homeless and had no things, you know, because I couldn't fit in. And I've never looked at news and said, my life is exactly like that. I've never met a single person that went through hardship and everything that said, yes, my life is like this. And everybody looks at news because the people believe, the politicians and the news believe what they're saying to each other. They feed each other. They are very codependent. And they believe what they're saying. And when a human says, you know, you believe a human that believes itself that that's the truth, even though it isn't, because everybody is different. And I found that two things, that nobody ever finds that their life is like the news, anything like the news. And the other thing is that nobody fits in. I've never seen that they can adjust, adapt. You know, you can, I mean, how many women, I mean, and men too, but women more, do everything to keep that household in order, you know, to keep the kids in order, to keep the thing. It's crazy.
Yeah, I want to clarify that. I see what you're saying about fitting in. And I do feel like there's a point that we come into our life when we're at peace with ourselves. So we move beyond trying to fit in. We move beyond trying to be whatever else somebody wants us to be. And we are just at peace with who we are, and we are who we are. So I do feel like a lot of us do come to that place, but I also see what you're describing, you know, trying to fit into an expectation, trying to fit into, because the standard of that expectation keeps rising because it's not ours. It's society's or someone else that set it up. So that bar that we're trying to reach keeps moving, and we keep, you know, we keep striving for it. We keep trying to prove that we're worthy or enough. But however, when we move to a point of, I am already enough, I am already worthy, I love myself for who I am as I am, then we can come to that place of peace, and we're no longer trying to fit in. We just are. So thank you for that.
I don't know about if we think we're worthy. I mean, I think there's some people that wake up like us, all right? But we're not better. We woke up for whatever reason. I don't know why we woke up, you know? So I don't want people saying, oh, you can do it or not. No, I didn't know how I did it. It just, that just happened. But we don't, I think people surrender, because exactly what you said, because the system relevance is changing. So, you know, a restaurant owner 20 years ago had a different time than opening a restaurant now. And the system relevance has to be different. You have to know computers and this and that and this to have a restaurant. In 20 years ago, you just made a taco stand and it was good, you know? So I think people are just giving up, going on drugs, or just surrendering, you know, binge watching. But then they get sick. I think they get sick. They binge watch because they need to express and not just consume, eat, binge watch, and then just surrender to it. It says, I surrender to the fact that I will never be somebody. And I tell you, a lot of people like me, you know, with neurodivergent, are not alive anymore. And I was blessed with a spirit that has that fire. Like probably you too. Because if you are blessed by that spirit, it's not like I did it. Maria, I'm so great. You got to kiss my whatever because I'm the greatest thing ever. No, I'm not. I was just blessed with a spirit that fights, that doesn't give up, that doesn't surrender to the ambiguities. And then it happens. I don't feel any better than anybody because it just happens. It just really happens, you know?
Yeah, I think that there's a knowing within us that keeps us going. The knowing,
Yeah.
whether it's trust, whether it's faith, whether it's just a knowing that we have about that, that passion that keeps us moving.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about, you said something about people like you, and what I'm hearing is, when we feel like we are having all these struggles, when we feel like, we're not fitting into society, we're not meeting the expectations of society, sometimes we get depressed or, other things happen and we lose ourselves. Tell us about any struggles you had that you had to overcome along your journey, and what you learned from them that you're now sharing that's part of your message.
I always thought I have to understand everything.
Mm-hmm.
I told you, till 50, I hit the wall,
Mm-hmm.
even though I had some system success, but I hit the wall because I thought I need to understand the whole world. If I understand the whole world, like I couldn't have this talk with you when I was, 10 years younger. I couldn't have had this talk with you because I said, I better know, Maria, what do you want to ask me? What, tell me all the questions, and then I'm super prepared. What did I do now? I said, ask me anything you want me and wherever, because I don't want to do the same thing over and over, and all pre-prepared. And I thought I need to know everything. And then I thought, that's system relevant. That's system relevant knowledge. Every AI today can be everything. And with, you don't need to know anything. You just can Google it. But you do not to know what to do with the wisdom of that knowledge. Is that knowledge now just important for an accounting office? Or is this knowledge also helping me if I go to the store and buy things, or get a loan? Where would I use this, And it's about the context. And what I found was system relevance always goes into detail, micro. And when you always go into micro, you might go into a rabbit hole. And that rabbit hole might have a distraction or something, and you go in the wrong, get a dead end. And you have to go all the way back. So if you always pull yourself out while you're going in and say, okay, let me think why we're going for this. Why do we want to find out who did this? Is that really important for the whole? We don't see it. We're saying, no, we need to know who stole the $100, And often we get so lost in that we miss all the other stuff, for example, that a team can build. And then we find out the $100 were just slipped into on the side in the cash register. I'm just telling you from a, And when you're a leader, you got to say, I don't care right now. Let's do the best job that we can do together, collaborate, and not focusing and make everybody guilty to find the $100 that we're missing, And so that's human centricity versus being system relevant. System relevant. Oh, you got to find the $100,
Right.
But the $100 might not even be a human mistake. It might be just something that happened,
Yeah. And I like what you're saying about refocusing, right? Refocusing on what's important.
Yeah.
As a human, as living happy, joyful, fulfilled life, as being in alignment and being our full expression of who we are, as serving others and helping others step into who they're meant to be here, and also aligning the space for them to find their way and go through whatever lessons and learnings that they're here to do. So I love that, coming back to self, coming back to connection, coming back to unconditional love, coming back to compassion. What other messages do you have that you want to share with the audience? If there's something that you'd want to leave us with, something that you want everybody to remember, if they don't remember anything at all, what you just said?
What you just said, because you said something perfect. You said compassion, unconditional love. Those are system definition, system relevant definition. Because, for example, the system different relevance between woman and man is endless. Since 1967, women try to be systemically equal. You are by nature equal. Women should have never fought for the equality in systems. because we created systems. And women are by nature the same. What is the difference between woman and man other than mating season in nature? Nothing. Then we are equal. We don't have to make ourselves reverse engineered equal in systems. That means women are low and the system made them equal in system. That is burning in your systemic equality. If you need the system to make you equal, then it's set. It's system. You got a stamp on it. Women are unequal, and now you got the equality from, and this is in sexuality, everything, in race, everything. You got the stamp. Now you are equal. You are equal by nature. There's no discussion. And we need to get that awareness up because we're not aware, because for generations, we suppressed women, we suppressed different sexuality, we suppressed different races, which is artificially. That is not natural. We are natural. We are part of nature. The other way is gratitude journal. Hate it. I hate it. Why do you have the gratitude journal? It's good to be aware that we have to have gratitude, but when you are fulfilled and in the moment, I, for example, felt gratitude the whole time, you and I didn't have to think, oh, now I'm with Maria. I have to think, you can't reverse engineer what is natural. Mind construct is a mindset, mind construct. When I hear that, I get crazy. It's awareness. Say awareness. Don't say mind construct, mindset. That is making people something to do. You don't have to be doing anything. That's why I say, when you listen to me, there's no 3 steps. There's no 5 things. You have to read this or that. I trust that your uniqueness can just listen to this and integrate it and open your perspective. You don't have to tell exactly what I say. You don't even have to know what is system relevant and human-centric, but it helps. It helped me tremendously, compartmentalize it. So those were the things for me, because I tried everything, like you said, unconditional love. Unconditional love. Unconditional love is the openness that you can always go and resonate in love. It's the openness. It's not anything to do or anything to think. It's the openness that every moment you can go another person. That's why I always say people are important. So when I see another person, I feel unconditional love. But that's automatic. I don't have to think, oh my God, I gotta give Maria unconditional love. No, you don't have to say that.
Yeah, I get that. But for some people, it is a practice. It is a practice of being, right?
To be aware, yeah, to get them.
Also experiencing, because for so long they weren't able to experience. Yeah. For so long they weren't able to have. So this practice of being is everybody's personal journey, whether it's now being able to love themselves, now being able to forgive themselves, now being able just to be present, now just simply be able to be in gratitude, to be in that moment. So it is a personal journey for everyone. And it's the practice of, stepping into and experiencing everything that wasn't allowed, or that you didn't allow yourself, or that wasn't available. And that is also the practice of mastery, and, living in alignment with who you are. Very good, Michaell. Where can they find you if they want to connect with you?
Easy peasy, michaellm.com, Michael with 2 L's, michaellm.com. My art, my music, my books, my talks. You can hire me. You can sign up to stuff, everything, whatever you feel is right. I would suggest about creation to listen to my free podcast. It's only 30 seconds. And it's just a quote every Saturday, a quote and a question. And for you, and there's no answer required. It's just for you to allow that to percolate.
Beautiful. Very good. Beautiful. Well, thank you for being with us today. Thank you for sharing your message with us and sharing some of those powerful nuggets with everyone. And again, everything is possible. Everything is possible. You get to find your way forward. You get to be and step into who you're meant to be, and it is your choice, and you get to carve that for yourself. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, everyone. Lots of love. Namaste.